Can we actually swerve this conversation real quick to the thing that I texted you about? Because Indiana applies to this topic.
Sure, swerve.
Okay. So Kevin Clark covers the NFL, I think Formula One, does a bunch of stuff for The Ringer, Slow News Day. Great writer, really good dude. He tweeted something on Monday where he got into talking about, because Andy Staples wrote a story for The Athletic about the state of Florida football, the Florida Gators football, where it is now, what it was, for the better part of 20 years or so, and how Florida's kind of just, it's gotten to a place where it's actually, you could argue that it is in some ways resembling Indiana basketball, I suppose, but that's not the point of that piece. So then Kevin Clark springs off of that and says, this is not what Florida should be. Shouldn't be their expectations. It's unacceptable. You're in arguably, the most talent-rich state in the country for college football prospects. You can't be this if you're Florida. So he tweeted out, here are my quote, no excuses jobs where you should compete for a conference title every single year after year one of a coaching hire. So you get 1 year of a grace period, but by year two, if you're at one of these 12 programs in college football, you are competing for a conference title. Those 12 schools, according to Kevin Clark, are Texas, Southern California, Florida, LSU, Georgia, Miami, Florida State, Alabama, Michigan, Oklahoma, Ohio State, and Penn State. He said, given the talent base, you have no real excuses. Now, to me, we're going to do this for basketball. Compete for a conference title, to me, means that you are in the top 3 in your league standings, maybe 4, but really top 3 of your league standings basically every season, and you are winning a conference regular season championship at least once every 3 years. That's what this means. That's what I equate to what Clark put out there. But before I give you mine, there are 80 schools that are going to be in Big Six leagues as of July 1. 80 of them. 80 schools are in Big Six leagues. Do you have a list of what schools this should apply to? No excuses. Year 2, you are competing for regular season championships in the Big Six leagues. I got my list ready. Do you have a list ready, GP?
I do not have a list ready.
Okay, I have a list.
Because I thought we agreed not to talk about this.
I have the list. This one's coming this right. And because we'll get out here faster. I have the list, and then you tell me if you agree or disagree.
Okay. That might be the way to do this.
Okay. I've got 13 schools out of 80 that I think apply to this. All right. Again, doesn't matter the coach. By year 2 in college basketball, you are competing for a regular season championship. We're not talking Final Fours and national championship. Regular season. All right. In the ACC, I've got 3 schools that I think this applies to: Carolina, Duke,
of course,
and yes, Louisville. Louisville is a top 10 all-time program, and it's coming off its worst season ever. But Louisville absolutely applies this. Before I go to the next conference, would you agree with that list? Would you take anyone off? Would you put anyone on?
I think those 3 absolutely should be on there. The one that I would wonder, and this is based off of peak Jim Boeheim, but could Syracuse be on that list?
So I thought about this with Syracuse. Will we expect Syracuse in the second year under Red Autry to compete for an ACC regular season championship? I don't think that we will. And the fact that I think there's hesitation means that Syracuse should not be on the list.
Fine with me.
Okay.
Can I throw a query out here?
Hello, Nada. Hello.
How far away was Virginia in this?
I thought about Virginia, but I think that's a Tony Bennett job.
Correct. Decently far. Now, this topic in particular, if you've been listening to all our offseason episodes, we did a segment a few shows back where we talked about it was the mailbag episode where someone asked, what programs and the head coach, how much is this current program responsible for success because it's tied to the head coach? And we thought, and when we listed however many it was, 10 to 12 of them, Virginia was on that list. If your team is on the list, it's hard to be on that list. Your head coach is so responsible for your success and also be on this list because this is more program institution is bigger than the person that's actually running it. So I did think about Virginia and I did think about Syracuse, but I've only got UNC, Duke, Louisville applying in this scenario. All right.
Fine with me.
Big East, there's only 2. And you know the 2, GP.
Okay. What's going to be UConn?
Yep.
And
the school that has won,
Villanova.
Yeah, it's UConn Villanova. Now, what's interesting about
I was wondering if you might put Georgetown on the list. Like, if you're the right guy at Georgetown, can you get that thing flipped quick?
It has does it it has deteriorated so much at that program that it is not in the conversation right now. If we had done this podcast segment 8 years ago, I think we would have put Georgetown on it, but time can really wear away at that. I can't put Georgetown on the list there. What's interesting about this is with Villanova, this is what we have. Like, Kyle Neptune is going into his second season, and the expectation for that program will be that they compete for the Big East regular season title. That is the expectation there. And short of that, so top 3 in the league is unacceptable. Villanova is in that category. Obviously, UConn is in that category. No one else in the Big East, I think, fits that bill. Big Ten is where it gets spicy and interesting. I'll give you I have 3. Okay. You could argue for fewer. You could argue for more. For me, the 3 are Tom Izzo leaves Michigan State at the end of this season. Whoever replaces him. They get 1 year. Michigan State fans will expect that program to be competing for a Big Ten regular season title by year 2. Michigan State's on the list. Indiana is on the list. Hell, we just saw it. It was just year 2 for Mike Woodson. And as we just talked about, they were expected to compete for a regular season title. They ultimately did. And then I put Ohio State on the list as well. I do not have.
And let's just
stop. Hold on.
Hold on.
We will. Hold on. I do not have Purdue, and I do not have Michigan. I think those are the 2 others that you can argue should be in there. If you're going to go against me on Ohio State, I'm very fascinated to see why. But MSU, IU, OSU are my 3 teams from the Big Ten.
I will acknowledge that Indiana should be on this list. I reject that Indiana competed for a conference championship last season. They finished 3 games back.
Okay, fair enough.
They didn't compete for anything last season.
They finished tied for second. I can rephrase.
Yeah, they finished tied for. That's like you're racing. Who was that swimmer?
Katie Ledecky.
Katie Ledecky. It's like you finished second to Katie Ledecky, but like 75 yards back.
Okay.
I mean, we'll give you a silver medal.
God love Matt Painter. Purdue basketball has nothing on the dominance of Katie Ledecky. We'll
give you a silver medal, but like you weren't competing for gold. Indiana got a silver medal last season.
My point was that heading into his second season, the expectation was Indiana would compete for the Big Ten regular season championship.
Okay, good. Say that again. What was the expectation? Okay.
And the expectation was that they would
finish 3 games back.
That's what actually happened.
1, 2, 3 games back. And you don't think they underachieved?
To my own expectations, they didn't, because I had them finishing 4th in the league.
You had them finishing 3 games back of Purdue?
I did, yeah. I had Purdue.
I believed in them more than that.
I had Illinois winning the league.
I believed in them. No, okay. Indiana. I'll go Indiana.
Yes.
I'll go Michigan State just because they've been good my whole life.
Yes. That clearly they are on the list.
You had your third.
Ohio State.
Okay, but like I think you can also put Michigan on there. I think you can also put Maryland on there.
Maryland, no.
Maryland, no.
Not in its current conference footprint. I understand Maryland's a really good program, but like we are literally in this right now. Kevin Willard is going into his second season at Maryland. Is the expectation at Maryland this season that they will be 1, 2, 3 in the conference, and that's where it absolutely should be? I don't feel like that's the temperature of that. Now, trust me, I understand there is a faction of the Maryland fan base that is like this, but I don't feel as though the pressure surrounding Kevin Willard in his second season at that job in that conference is quite at that level.
Are you suggesting Kevin Willard's not the right guy for the job?
Not at all. Not at all.
I think Maryland's close to. If Maryland's not on the list, they're close.
I acknowledge Maryland is close. Yes.
All right. I don't know. I don't understand how Michigan couldn't be on there. I mean, it's Michigan, for crying out loud.
Can you have 6 schools in one conference have this be the situation though? Because this feels like a semi-exclusive kind of club, and Michigan had plenty of seasons in which it was down.
Okay,
I don't know if Michigan's there.
Let's put it to a test. Juwan Howard retires.
Yeah,
you got
him retire. Is he what? He's 49.
Yeah, he might just be over.
He's financially secure enough to do so, but.
And you make a good hire at Michigan. You don't think that guy should be competing for the Big Ten title in year 2? I do.
I do. To be fair, on this list, I have a note. My school that it was closest to being on it that I kept off was Michigan. That's the cutoff. Yes.
Okay, so we agree on Indiana, Michigan State, and Ohio State. I'm saying Maryland and Michigan, if they're not on the list, they're very close. We can agree on that.
I think that's fair.
All right.
Big
let's go to
12.
Big 12.
Only two. Kansas
and Texas. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
No one else in the Big 12 reasonably are you expected to actually compete for the first of all, it's Kansas. It's really just Kansas. But Texas, and this is going to change. And let's get into this now. Texas is in the Big 12 now. It's going to the SEC. Is that still the situation at Texas in the SEC for basketball? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it?
I mean, like there's only one conference champion, and look at all the ridiculous schools you're going to have in the SEC.
So is this situation still going to apply to Texas in 2 years?
I think I know that the history of the program does not back this up, but I think if you are awesome at this job and you're the Texas coach, you should be competing for championships every year.
Okay. I think that's fair. I have Texas on the list. Pac-12. Does this apply? I have UCLA and Arizona because it's obviously those are the only two in that conference. I don't think this applies to UCLA when it goes to the Big Ten. It's super weird geographic disparity. There's going to be other factors with this job. UCLA fans will want to probably keep it there. I'm not going to reject that. But I don't know if me personally, I don't know if I expect UCLA. Granted, I know who's the coach there, but I don't know if I'm going to expect UCLA to compete for the Big Ten regular season championship every single year. I got to see how this is going to work. This is
first off,
like it.
Nobody competes for it every year except Bill Self and Mark Few. So that's too high of a bar.
Well, compete is you're in the top three pretty much almost every year. That was the parameter that I laid out at the top.
Even if you're tied for second, 3 games back.
Yeah.
Even if you're tied for second, 3 games back to a superior school in your own state.
Yeah. The whole point is there's no excuses. The infrastructure in place at the program, recruiting territory, NIL, facilities, anything. There's no excuses. By year 2, you are at the top or near the top of your ledger in your conference play. No excuses. Arizona's going to remain there. I have UCLA there, obviously, in the Pac-12 now. In the Big Ten, I think that's going to be interesting. It's a super wild card there.
Well, yeah, we'll have to see how plenty of coaches who have been in charge of programs that change leagues.
Mm-hmm.
We're going from the Big East to the ACC or from this to that. They will tell you that the impact on recruiting can be dramatic, and that. I mean, I don't want to speak for Mike Bray, but I think he would tell you that it was easier to get people to come to Notre Dame to play in the Big East than it was to get people to come to Notre Dame to play in the ACC. Obviously, when UConn went to the American, that was I know they won a championship, but that was not the same as being in the Big East. So will UCLA moving to the Big Ten impact the type of regional prospect UCLA has traditionally gotten? I don't know. I don't think so. But I don't know for sure. But I don't think so. I think UCLA is going to be good in the Pac-10.
In the Pac-10?
Yeah,
I think there's a chance. Right? I like UCLA's chances
Big
in the Pac-10.
10.
I think they're going to 3 Final Fours in 3 years, personally. Last one is SEC. I only have Kentucky. Michigan and Florida were my 2 cutoffs. Todd Golden is about to enter his 2nd season at Florida.
Who were your 2 cutoffs?
Michigan and Florida were the 2 closest cutoffs for me.
In the Southeastern Conference?
No, overall.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
The realignment's getting wacky, folks.
I don't even know anymore. I can't keep up.
It is. It's in. Yeah. There's even more stuff. We're not even getting to that ACC nonsense right now. But anyway, Todd Golden's going into year 2 in Florida, and while Florida fans would like to get back to the level it was once at, in kind of going back to that staple story between football and basketball, it's actually a pretty interesting time there for Florida. And there's optimism, but like they've got to get back like a notch or 2 back up from where they once were. I don't know if that's the case. Like Florida's not expected to be 1st, 2nd, or 3rd in that league. And while fans would like that to be the case, it doesn't feel like there's this like angst around it. So I cut Florida off because it literally applies this upcoming season, and Florida doesn't fit the bill. So to me, the only school where this applies is Kentucky in the SEC. Disagree?
I might want to put Arkansas on the list.
Maybe, but the program didn't make a Sweet 16 from 1996 to 2021. So I don't know.
I mean, Indiana hasn't been to the Elite Eight since 2002.
Gosh. Roping them back in.
2002.
I would hear an argument for Arkansas, but I just don't know if that's.
Buddy, I was having premarital sex in 2002.